Hello and welcome to Morningstar Tarot. I'm your host, Lucy Morningstar. I usually will get on here and give tarot readings a couple times a month. Today we're not going to do that. This is pre-recorded for everybody, so if you are leaving stuff in the chat, it probably will go unanswered. But today I have Patrick, my good friend from San Diego, who I'm visiting right now for the weekend. And I decided to interview him for the website. Um, Patrick and I met through the Black Flame Immersion discussion group and podcast. So I just wanted to ask him some questions today. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I don't know how long this is gonna take or we're gonna be on here. But what are all of the musical projects that you have been part of to start with?
Well, I have Arson, which was the first of my solo projects, and I then went on to do Omen of Torment.
Which is what I basically know you from.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the solo black metal project that I had, and that went on from October 2012. It kind of went like, it kind of fluctuated how much I put into that.
I was just a young thing then.
Yeah.
I was a baby.
And then I kind of had to take a hiatus because I moved back here.
To San Diego.
Yeah.
And you've been on tour and stuff with...
No, I've never done a tour.
Oh, you've not done tours and
No.
stuff? Okay, I was mistaken then. So talk to me a little bit about how Omen of Torment started for you and like what significance that project has for you.
Well, at the time that I made that project, I was kind of in a really dark, really self-hatred kind of mind state, and just in a really bad place emotionally, and it was going on to like physically, and I pretty much, instead of hurting myself physically, instead just poured out everything from that musically, and poured it into the music and in the lyrics, and it shows, and
It does.
it
It's very intense. It's good, but it's very it puts you in a mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dripping with how I felt around that time. But yeah, it was basically a way for me to push that out rather than hurt myself, I guess.
Yeah. And that was how long ago? And you're basically finished with Omen of Torment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I tagged you in it on the page for what we were doing, but I didn't really I didn't know you were done with it yet.
Yeah.
But you did say that Omen of Torment and that album is reflective in some part of your spirituality.
At the time, yeah, kind of. It was more. Omen mostly dealt with, obviously, the suicidal side of black metal, but any of the spirituality came through on kind of I guess that you could say the Satanist side.
Yeah.
It was still very Abrahamic, reverse, Christian.
At that time, did you self-identify as a Satanist?
To people that would ask me that back then, yeah.
Yeah.
but I didn't really.
But not now.
Well, no.
Okay.
But back then I didn't. It was more of just like, I want to say it because I didn't know at the time.
That there were other things.
Well, yeah, or that, what I was saying, honestly.
Yeah. What made you stop identifying? What made you stop identifying as a Satanist? Okay, so
Well,
what is Satan? I'm sorry. What is Satanism to you now?
now?
Yeah.
Well, for me now, it's when I hear about it, and what it makes me think of is just people. They seem to try to like do the whole individuality thing. They try to do the whole thinking for themselves thing, but a lot of it falls short because they end up still keeping this. They still keep like keeping some type of Abrahamic or just something that.
Abrahamic being Christian or a Judaic mindset of
Yeah,
some sort.
rather than actually thinking like completely for themselves, they still kind of hold on to
that.
Maybe something that might have been pushed on them from their family or whoever knows.
Even if it's subconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would ask, what do you, if anything, if there's a label for it, if there's a name for it, what do you identify now? Are you religious? Are you spiritual? Are you theistic? Are you atheistic? Are you nothing?
Well, when I found the podcast.
The podcast being the
Black Flame Immersion podcast.
Yes. Which a lot of people watching will not know, but if they look
Yeah.
it up, then that to us is very significant. But
Yeah. But when I found the podcast, I was trying to find something more with my spirituality.
More than Satanism.
More than trying to do what I was doing, where I was calling myself a Satanist. And,
yeah.
I wanted to find something more because I kept looking outward to like I said before with you. I was trying to read like Michael W. Ford stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to see if I can look for what I need there, but I just found fairy tale stuff.
Yeah. Like they really like
werewolves and vampires and stuff, which sounds great, I guess, but not if I'm actually trying to.
But it didn't resonate.
No, not in a like spiritual sense. Like.
Yeah. Did you ever experiment with any of the rituals? Did you ever try out any of that kind of craft?
I didn't. I bought some things from his store.
From Michael W. Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And made like a little altar for myself, but like I had a Baphomet like statue effigy thing, and I had candles and all this other stuff, but I just
what was missing from it? Like for you, why did that not satisfy you?
Because it didn't feel like a lot of when I would try to like do something or think about doing something
like magically
with the altar, yeah, or just with myself, because I had that altar, and then because I was reading someone else's stuff, in the back of my mind and kind of I guess like my intuition, I noticed would kind of be like this isn't for you.
Like this is
like every single time I thought about doing something with it, with the altar or whatever, I had this odd feeling like this isn't for me, like this isn't what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really do anything. The altar was just there pretty much.
Yeah.
I didn't put anything into it. I never did any meditation on it. Just was there.
And so I guess when did you find the podcast? We'll start going into that.
I think I found the podcast a couple years ago. I think. You already know I have a bad memory, but.
I know. You're asking. I'm asking questions I already know the answer to.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I think it was like a couple years ago.
okay.
Because it definitely came at a time where I had kind of made some interesting changes in my own personal life with people and some other stuff.
Okay. And has that, I guess, has the podcast, or I know that it triggered like a snowball effect into the way that you think now and the things that we talk about, but do you think that that snowball effect has had an effect on your music now? Like if we were, I know that we're going to try to make music today, but like for your own personal projects, do you feel like it's gotten deeper? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten harder to write?
It's definitely gotten harder to write because back then when I did Omen,
Yeah.
it was different because it was what I was already kind of like immersed in, which was the pain and suffering, and it was just easier to write because it's there.
Yeah.
But with the stuff I'm doing for the newest one, Obsidian Right, I I haven't really been able to really record or write lyrics because what I want to do with that is actually show the path that I've taken and the things I've experienced
And have it reflect that.
and have it reflect that, but also eventually I want to at least, whenever I become initiated, have it become something of kind of like a tribute to whoever I'm going to be initiated to.
To
Kind of
your
like,
deity.
yeah, kind of like how in black metal they have, like Sargeist. I'm pretty sure they're Luciferian. They speak about like Lilith. Because
Yeah.
I know the vocalist of that, he speaks about Lilith as if she's his mother. So he's very on the like Luciferian side,
That's
it
cool.
seems. But he speaks about her in this grand way, in this very adoring way, and that's personally not what I would kind of.
You don't
go
show
for.
worship for Lilith
No,
or anything. Okay.
any of that, but whatever deity I decide to initiate with, eventually, Obsidian Right's gonna basically be like my way of adoration. So
Of like a
basically,
tribute.
yeah, because
Yeah.
basically right now it's gonna be the road, like it's starting from where it's my beginning of the path is, which is this all the trials and tribulations of
Yeah.
what's gone on during it from since I was born to now. And then it's pretty much just gonna be, think of it as if I was like an author writing an
Yeah.
autobiography about myself, except I'm doing it through music.
That's cool. Are you comfortable talking about who it is you're going to show tribute to and what that means for you?
For right now, I don't really have like a set deity yet. I'm still
Yeah.
kind of like on that.
I know that we've talked about like the similarities and all like the connections between the different cultures and like their understanding of what different deities are.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Thinking. I can edit this, I think. So
Do you want me to speak about that connection or no?
yeah, I'd love for you to. I know that we used to have a word for it of what we are. I know that we're probably we don't have a label now. Not that
No.
we really did.
No.
Would you call yourself anything?
No.
Than,
I think during the whole Diabolist thing and everything that happened with that kind of made me remember again when as I came into that like podcast that I didn't need a name. I wasn't.
You don't feel the need to have like a label?
No, because I mean, I know, or at least I feel that names are pretty much like a human construct. So
Yeah. I don't see you explaining what you are to anybody either, so I don't feel like a name is needed
It's
or
to me it's
legal.
not, because I mean, once I feel like if you put a name on it, I feel this now, especially after that thing that happened with the whole dab list
With the
title
diabolism and
and
the
RJ stealing it and all that other stuff. But like, we don't really. I don't think we really need to like name who we worship or even our practice, because it's going to be individual. I mean, maybe you'll have a name for it that's just your own,
yeah.
but because of that and because of just how the world is, who knows if someone's going to steal that
Yeah.
and then dilute it.
Like it's been
Like
happening
it's
recently with
happened.
that stupid shit that's going on. No, I understand. And I know that we have talked about this
Yeah.
quite extensively. But what about this connection that you're talking to? Like, when did this connection? I guess, like, let me ask if you were you raised religiously in any way?
I was raised Catholic, yeah.
You were raised Catholic.
And then early 20s, I was trying out Christianity, but
But
that was very
Christianity
short.
didn't.
That was very short lived. It was only for a
Very.
little while.
Not enough meat and potatoes for you.
No.
Okay.
No.
So after, like, when did you start to realize that Christianity was not, um, cutting it for you?
Um, well, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I was kind of immersed in it. Well, I was kind of just going along with it and
In
doing whatever.
Christianity?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
Catholicism.
Catholicism.
Um, just because my mother literally would beat it into me.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, I guess back then I was probably like what my stepbrother is now, which was just a husk,
Husk.
a puppet for my mother to just put all this religion into. But I think it started when I questioned it and kind of was a little iffy. I wanted to do my own thing. Probably as a teenager, because I think around that time I just had a, a weird, like, kind of like I was kind of done with what was going on. Like,
With
what was going on
Christianity.
at home with
Oh.
her, and then also, like, questioning, like, how is all this, like, love and all
How are
this
you
coming from
gonna?
the Bible, but then I'm coming home and getting wooden spoons broken over me by my mother.
Yeah.
So it just didn't correlate with me. Like, it just seemed very contradictory. And then even I don't know. I just had some kind of, it just kind of started sickening me more and more. The more and more I would be at church, or you know,
Yeah.
I had to. My mother made me be an altar boy, so I had to do all that stuff too.
She made you be an altar boy. So
Yeah.
you were like in the fucking pits.
I was pretty much. I was pretty much the priest's little helper,
Yeah.
which is pretty much what they are, and
Did you have a good
sometimes
time?
more. No.
No. Okay.
I was
can
pretty much
imagine it
standing
being fun.
there. Here, sir. Well, here's the water.
Yeah.
No.
So you said when you were a teenager, you started to get more into the idea of the unknown, of the occult, and
Yeah, I just always had kind of like what some people might feel is just like I liked dark things.
yeah.
I started to like notice that I had like a love for like dark stuff, and around that time when I was a teenager, I started getting into um, punk and hardcore and metalcore, and it kind of helps me kind of rebel. Like, it was very, because a lot of the songs were still kind of like anti-religious or
The
just
songs that you
very
were listening to?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it was still very anti-religious, and like they were still talking about, you know, the same things black metal does, maybe not as blasphemous. And it every time I would hear more and more punk and hardcore and metalcore, I just wanted to see for the next best thing, or like the next heaviest thing, or the next most blasphemous thing.
Yeah,
So I just I
I'd
kept
gone the
wanting
same
to
way.
search for more and more.
It's cool. Like you're like, fuck, that's dirty. Like that's
Yeah,
some nasty.
and then I would find
like when
something
you
even
showed
more
me
blasphemous.
Profanatica,
Yeah,
I was like, God damn, that's some cool shit.
yeah.
So did you have any interest in the occult and I guess this deity before you found the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was already kind of something, and then how did you come across it? Or come did you have I'm sorry, let me backtrack. Did you have any have you had any like paranormal experiences that would lead you to the idea that there's not just an Abrahamic Judaic mindset, or that there's something more? And if so, can you describe it?
I remember as a very young child, I had intuition, and my mother definitely noticed it, but of course she would say that it's just my guardian angel tapping me on the shoulder,
Like an
warning me.
intuition, like a knowing, or like
Yeah,
you
I
would
just had
see
these.
things,
No,
or
it was
like
back then. It was more of the feeling,
just like a
less than
feeling
seeing.
like something was gonna happen?
Yeah,
or,
just
yeah.
bad feelings about a person that I'm
Okay.
in front of, or just a gut feeling type of thing. Just kind of like the warnings.
Yeah, and your mom noticed this, and she said that it must have been your guardian angel sent from
Yeah.
uh, the Christian God Yahweh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like just she put it to it was just my guardian angel watching out for me.
And you're like, no, it's me.
I mean, back then I was foolish enough to be like, yeah.
I mean, that's your mom.
Yeah.
You're a kid.
Yeah, but I know. I think it was in middle school or early high school.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in my great grandparents' house with my mother, and I stayed in the guest room. And I remember one night I had this strange feeling that someone had. Like I was going to bed, but I wasn't like asleep. I know I wasn't asleep, but I felt someone kind of press their hands like this against like my chest, and I was kind of like not scared, but just like I was like, what the hell is this feeling like it literally felt like someone's hands were like pressing against my chest, like some pressure.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, it kind of felt like they did like that, but when they did like this and pushed in, it was like they pushed and went like
in
through
you. So you
or
physically
in me.
felt like something touch you. And you were how old?
I'd have to say probably like 14 or 15 possibly.
Okay, so you were old enough to be like, well, that's something that has never happened before, and I can't explain that.
And I already had strange feelings in that house because apparently there's some people that have died in that house.
Yeah.
From my family. I've also had family members who have had other dead family members like at the foot of their bed, or
wow.
Just strange things. And for me, I always had a strange feeling in that house anyway.
Yeah.
A very uneasy feeling.
Wow, especially with it being family members, I feel like that would be really intense, especially if they know that you're like related or ancestral in any way.
Yeah. But after that, it's kind of just been like sporadic times when something will occur that's either paranormal or, for me, kind of like where I'll have an intuition, but it will be like I noticed at the time when I was like 30 and I was actively trying to look for the occult, like way more than I did prior to being 30. I noticed that the intuition was a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Um, but before that, I had so here in San Diego, we have a haunted house in Old Town called the Whaley House.
We were in Old Town yesterday.
We were.
Is it somewhere we can?
It's closed because of COVID, most likely.
Oh, okay, okay.
I went there with some family, and
Oh, I remember you telling
yeah,
Yeah.
and my mom, when we were going through one of the rooms, she said she smelled like rose petals, which was weird because there was no roses around or anything. But it was like she said it was intense, like it was literally in front of her face.
Yeah. And rose is a very like distinct smell.
Oh, yeah. My aunt said she felt something behind her tug on her purse.
And this was all in the same day?
It was all in the same visit, the same place.
Wow.
And for me, when we walked into this room before entering like this like courtroom part of the house,
yeah,
there was a clock, and it was really loud when it was dinging. It was kind of like one of those old timey clocks,
like the grandfather clocks. Yeah.
And for some reason, when it was ringing, like as soon as it turned on, I was pretty much frozen and just completely paralyzed. Like I was still, like I couldn't really move. I couldn't. I just stood there.
Yeah.
Until literally the clock was done dinging, like calling out whatever time it was.
That's fucking weird. That's fucking weird, man. And that's here in San Diego.
Yeah.
At the Waverly House?
At the Whaley House.
With the Whaley House? I want to go there now.
But yeah, after that,
and that's when you were younger?
Yeah.
Okay.
But currently it was more the ones I spoke with you about with the visions and...
Yes. Were those recent? Like as you've been older?
Yeah, because that was around when I was 30.
Okay.
And I guess to give more context to that, I was on my way home from work, and for some reason I had this vision that was going on in my head that was one of my old band members, who was like one of my drummers, of him getting arrested at like a trolley stop with one of our other friends.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that would just kind of be like a thought probably in any of the people's heads who know this guy, because he's just kind of, he was like dodging taxes. Like you would just kind of assume like, oh, this is probably gonna happen to him. But for some reason it just kind of popped into my head, and it was really vivid.
Yeah.
And it was really strange because I didn't think about him. And next thing you know, when I get back to the house, one of my friends comes in, and he told me that he's like, yeah, hey, did you know that Andrew got arrested?
And so you felt this like either as it was happening or before?
Either as or before, but it was very, like, it was more than just kind of like thinking of, oh yeah, one day he's probably gonna get arrested because he's being stupid. No, this was like literally me watching him. Everything was vivid, like how he was like talking to the cops.
Yeah.
Me seeing our other friend Hedda in this vision, like it was a little too much to think of it as just kind of
a coincidence
or just me thinking about it.
Do you believe in coincidences?
No.
No?
I don't think so. There was a reason, I guess, that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had that happen, and then not too long after that, in the same week, a couple days after, now I hadn't seen my mother in 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working one night, closing the bagel shop I was working at, and someone came to the door while we were closing and cleaning up the area,
Yeah.
and I told my employee to go like let her know we're closed. And when I looked over at her, I actually there's more before that. So while I was working, before all this happened, um, I was sweeping, and for some reason I had this really hot, really painful feeling in my head. Like it almost felt
like a headache?
not even that. It was just like it wasn't even a headache. It's just it's just this pain, and then it was kind of like a fire also was in my like head,
Okay.
and it was pretty intense.
And this was like a physical feeling you had?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I kind of thought that was weird, and then that's when the lady showed, and I told my employee to go let them know that we're closed and kind of shoo her away.
Yeah.
And as soon as I looked back when he was walking over to her, I looked at her, and I could see her mouth my name, and I thought that was kind of odd. And as he was opening the door, I walked around the counter to go see what was going on. And as soon as I got there, I heard the woman say, "Yeah, he's my son." So I hadn't seen her in like 7, maybe 8 years before
Mm-hmm.
that. She was gone and away from even the family. And I was kind of shocked, but also pissed. And also, in that second, I kind of realized why that burning sensation and that kind of intuition I had probably occurred.
Yeah.
Which was that I was going to see her.
So this isn't something that happens to you all the time? It's not something you can control?
No.
No? Okay.
It just kind of happens.
I haven't met anybody that can control it yet. Maybe aside from one person. We don't need to talk about him today. But, so that was when you got older. I guess I'm gonna ask, I'm trying to figure, I'm putting these in order. So do you do any, without giving me any details that people don't really need to know about, do you do any type of like spiritual practice now? I know that there's not a name for what you are, there's not a label for what it is that we do, but can you tell me the difference between Satanism and what it is that you believe?
Well, if we're speaking about the TST,
like the Satanic Temple, I think just like in general.
Like
yeah,
I know all of them.
I know that we don't have like an organization or anything yet. But you are theistic.
Yeah.
Like you have an idea of a deity that you want to work with magically and show worship to.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas the Satanic Temple or Satanists, modern Satanists in general, do not.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Like how basically how my practice would differ from them.
Yeah.
Well, I know that I hear a lot of Satanists speak about basically they see Satan as a force rather than a deity, so that's one way.
Yeah.
That's not theistic. They're just
like an idea.
Yeah, kind of like a force or an idea of the things that happen or something. Where for me, it's more there's a deity for like me. There's a deity for everyone.
Yeah.
And they have their own. Also, they still hold on to a lot of the Abrahamism
They
with
do. The reverse Christianity,
yeah, the whole
just turning it
grand
around
rituals and black masses and
the black masses,
uh,
even though they're cool looking.
and a lot of them might do it for just to kind of like feel good or feel like they're doing something.
Yeah, feel like they have a purpose.
And some of them actually do admit that.
Yeah.
Like I know I heard a podcast episode that I told you about, the Satanic Temple member guy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I
was
remember.
in one of the episodes that I was listening to about this guy. He was talking about how some of the people, including him, do these like rituals so that they feel that they're doing something, which to me just sounds like they want to feel like they're doing the work or doing something, but they know that they're pretending.
But they know that they're pretending.
But they know that they're pretending, which I mean,
which would ruin the entire thing for me.
I mean, it's
good
at least
that they
they're
acknowledge
somewhat
that.
yeah, they're somewhat acknowledging that, but they're not.
But that's a waste of time to
yeah.
me. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It is a waste of time.
I mean,
if you're not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
But you're putting all that money and effort into
it. That's definitely another difference between me and them, because I'd rather be doing something with this rather than pretending, because I've already done the pretending. I've already hurt myself spiritually that way, or set myself back spiritually.
Meaning you've made mistakes.
Yeah, just like I said, like calling myself something. Like I know back then when I was doing Omen, I remember some guy on the bus was trying to push his Christianity to me, and I told him I was a Satanist. Doing what? Just kind of telling me, the usual stuff.
Like Jesus loves you.
Jesus loves you, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I'm telling this guy that I'm a Satanist, and he's telling me, oh, well, if you believe in Satan, then you got to believe in God. And then what
can
am I
believe in
to
it
say?
And not show worship to it, or not fucking want to deal with it.
At the same time, that guy got one on me because he was right, which, I mean, that's kind of hard to say. The Christian was right.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard to hold.
That's kind of hard to come
to terms with. Like, holy shit! In the back of my mind, I'm like, fuck, this guy is right.
He's got a point.
But on the outside, I'm just like, nah, you're dumb. Just kind of.
But you took that afterwards.
Yeah.
I guess what would be the easiest and the hardest part of your spiritual path now at this point where you're at?
I don't think there's anything easy. I mean, some of it might be easier for me because of just how I am personally as just a person.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've come more into yourself?
Yeah, I've definitely accepted myself more, like who I am and what I need to do on my path, and just like even just as a person, what I need to do to keep myself in check, pretty much.
And why do you need to keep yourself in check? Like, what is the point of your spiritual path? Like, what is the why put in all this work?
Well, for me it's very important because I know, like, I didn't really ask to have these like visions that I randomly get, or see these things, or deal with these things that I've dealt with or experienced. So for me, this is something that I can't ignore. I've had friends ask me the same thing, where they'll ask why I need to do this stuff, and it's just something that I feel that I can't, like, I've already ignored it by just doing something that was doing nothing but hurting myself spiritually, which was wearing the stuff, wearing the pendants, all the other stuff that didn't really do anything for me spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it just helped me get to a point where I could do something better with myself, to where I need to progress, because this is so important, because it's so prominent, because it's
Having that connection is really important.
Yeah,
with your deity.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like I, in the beginning, when all this stuff started happening, I kind of was I was trying to remove the whole everything that I was being taught or shown from like all the Luciferian stuff that I was reading and whatnot, but I still had a hold on it while I was still trying to find my own way.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just weighing myself down, where I would think, oh, well, maybe I was given this gift from Lucifer. Maybe Lucifer gave me this gift of like being able to see and feel all this stuff.
I think it's called a cunning. I think that's one of the words for it. Like when you have like the knowing, like how I kind of like see things, like the knowing is like the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But rather than it just being like this whole Abrahamic thing where it's like, oh, Lucifer gave this gift to me, and
Yeah.
I need to worship him because he gave this to me, kind of thing. Like I owe, and I have to like adore because I was given this gift.
You don't feel like you have to do it.
Well, I don't feel that whoever my deity is,
mm-hmm.
or any other deity, I don't believe I was given this kind of, the only way I can describe it is like magic.
Yeah.
These intuitions and everything. I don't think I was given it from whoever my deity is. It's more...
I think it's a very human thing.
It's just a very human thing where some people may have it pretty prominent or even more intense.
Yeah.
Some people might have it not so intense, or some people might not even have it at all. It's just kind of really pushed down, and
our society pushes that shit
yeah,
way
and
down.
it's pretty much, it pushes it down, and they don't acknowledge it ever in their life, and never do anything spiritual. It's more the person rather than it being some kind of like
gift.
Like I said, the whole gifts and the whole like, oh, maybe Lucifer, ad deity here, gave this to me. This is the gift I've been given from them. Right? It's just rather, this is what I have. This is from me. And I want to kind of find a connection with my deity.
And that's your point, is to have the connection and have that for yourself. And that is in of itself your journey.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, do you have any plans for the future? That was just a general thing I wrote down. I know you and me are going to try to do some stuff with that today while we're here, and hopefully later on in the future too.
Yeah.
Is it going to be under Obsidian Rite?
No, that's going to be... Obsidian Rite's going to be just me.
Okay, and your metal stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a cool name.
Yeah, we're gonna
come up with a name.
Come up with all the names and everything for that later.
Okay. I'm trying to put this in a way... I'm trying to think, do you have any advice for, I guess, young people that would be on my page watching this, that have come from an Abrahamic background, being Christian or Catholicism, that are thinking of branching out on their own and obtaining that individuality? What would you tell them to keep in mind? Spiritually.
I would just kind of tell them to do whatever they feel is best for them, to like if they're coming from an Abrahamic side, like if they're coming from like a Christian background or a Catholic background or whatever, um, to just look into things, read some things. Don't read stuff and.
Read stuff as in like the grimoires and like the EA Coetting.
I mean,
and like the
if you want to read those things, I would say read them. Just read as much as you can.
don't
but
take
don't
just
kind of-
like one book.
Yeah, or just don't like don't take it and then just be like, okay, this is what it is, and kind of do as much research as you can, and just whatever speaks to you will speak to you. It's really up to you. It'll jump at you, or it'll just you'll kind of read something or hear something, and it'll just kind of be something that you learn. Yeah, it'll either click or it'll just be something that's just one other thing you learned about somebody else that might not have to do with you. But
yeah.
that's kind of what this whole thing entails. Like, you're just constantly learning and trying to find more and more about certain things, and eventually it'll come to you.
Yeah.
Not from somebody else though. Like,
No, but I notice that it'll unfold in a way that you're like perfectly able to understand, whether that be like books or something pops on the TV or the radio or a synchronicity or your phone will ring when you're thinking of something and
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just do as much homework and research as you can, and if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Take what resonates, leave what doesn't.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you for sitting with me today and letting me ask you questions that I already know the answer to. Do you have any Obsidian Right stuff on YouTube yet?
No, not yet. I just barely got the logo done from
Okay.
Christoph, who does Behexen, Sargeist, and a bunch of other. He's the Lord of Logos, as he's known. He's very famous.
Hell yeah.
So I just got the logo done, and now I'm just kind of recording the music, and I'll eventually have a Bandcamp when I get the music done.
Cool. Well, when it does, I'll definitely put it up on my page too. But thank you, Patrick. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need. I think that was basically everything. We did pretty good. We kept it under an hour. But you can catch my live stream on Facebook, on the Facebook page Morningstar Tarot and morningstartarot.com. And thank you all. Hail Lucifer.